Hi friends, my name's Mrs. Rogers and I work with the WINGS program for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders and sometimes high schoolers too. So I get to see all sorts of students, and one thing I have learned in all of my years of teaching is that it's so important to learn about what we love, to find something that we want to know more about and then go out and find it. So our story today is about such a student. This, my friends, is Iggy Peck, Architect, by Andrea Beatty and illustrated by David Roberts. I hope you enjoy. Iggy Peck, Architect. An architect. What does an architect do? Young Iggy Peck is an architect, and he has been since he was 2, when he built a great tower in only an hour with nothing but diapers and glue. "Good gracious, Ignatius," his mother exclaimed. "That's the coolest thing I've ever seen." But her smile faded fast as a wind blew past and she realized those diapers weren't clean. "Ignatius, my son, what on earth have you done? That's disgusting. It's nasty and it stinks." Phew. Can you imagine building a tower out of dirty diapers? Gross. But Iggy was gone. He was out on the lawn using dirt clods to build a great sphinx. This is the Sphinx. It's outside of the pyramids in Egypt. It's got the head of a human and the body of a lion. When Iggy was 3, his parents could see his unusual passion would stay. He built churches and chapels from peaches and apples and temples from modeling clay. Look at these cool architectural buildings that Iggy has built for us. That looks like a famous temple called the Taj Mahal. It's in Tibet. At dinner one night, to his father's delight, Iggy got a bright gleam in his eye, and out on the porch built the St. Louis Arch from pancakes and coconut pie. That looks familiar to those of us from Missouri, doesn't it? How many of you have seen the St. Louis Arch? It's not quite built of pancakes, though, is it? And coconut pie on the top. What do you think's going to happen when he puts that pie on the top? Do you think that it will stay up, or do you think it might fall down? That's a cool experiment. You might have to build an arch sometime and see if it will support weight at the top. Dear Ig had it made until 2nd grade, when his teacher was Miss Lila Greer. On the very first day, she had this to say: "We do not talk of buildings in here. Gothic or Romanesque, I couldn't care less about buildings ancient or new." She said in her lecture about architecture that it had no place in grade 2. No. What happens if you have a teacher who doesn't love what you love and tells you... Uh-oh, there's Iggy. Is he paying attention to Miss Greer's lecture about architecture? She's thrown away all those books about architecture. Oh no, we don't throw away books. That's horrifying. Now that might seem severe, but she was sincere, for when she was no more than 7, she'd had a great fright at a dizzying height in a building so tall it scraped heaven. On an architect's tour of the 95th floor, young Lila got lost from the group. Oh no, have you ever been lost in a building by yourself? Can you imagine how scary that would be? On the 95th floor, no less? Good heavens, that looks like the Chrysler building. And there's another big one up there. Big buildings. She was found 2 days later stuck in an elevator eating cheese with the French circus troupe. After that day, it's quite safe to say she thought all building lovers were nuts. As a teacher, she taught that, above all, one ought to avoid them. No ifs, ands, or buts. I sometimes wonder if experiences that we have when we're kids affect us when we're older. I know they do. Hopefully not to the point that we stop doing things that other people love, or not allow those people to do things that they love. As you might guess, it would cause Iggy stress to hear such terrible talk, but he didn't hear. He sat in the rear while building a castle of chalk. Go Iggy. Look at that. Can you imagine building a castle like that out of chalk? These little individual pieces of chalk in there. Gracious. He's pretty talented. You, Iggy Peck, your desk is a wreck. Tear down that castle right now. You will not build in here. Is that perfectly clear? Do you need to see Principal Howe? Uh-oh. That's always a scary warning, isn't it, when the teacher says, do you need to go see the principal? Oh, and that face and that finger. Ooh, when the teacher uses that finger. Scary stuff. Oh. No, ma'am, Iggy said. He lowered his head, and his heart sank down to the floor. With no chance to build, his interest was killed. And now second grade was a bore. Poor Iggy. Have you ever looked like that in school? I sure hope not. Second grade's an exciting and wonderful time. It should never be a bore. After 12 long days that passed in a haze of reading, writing, and arithmetic, Miss Greer took the class to Blue River Pass for a hike and an old-fashioned picnic. Well, that sounds like fun. We're going to go on a picnic? Look at that class all trailing along. There's Iggy at the end. He's still pretty sad, though. Look at poor Iggy. Aw, Iggy. They crossed an old trestle to a small island nestled in the heart of a burbling stream. But they no sooner passed than the footbridge collapsed, and Miss Lila Greer started to scream. We're trapped here. Oh my! Alas, kids, goodbye! Her eyeballs rolled back in her head. She dropped to the ground with a vague groaning sound. Luckily fainted, not dead. Oh no. Look at poor Miss Lila there. What are they going to do? Can you imagine if you went on a field trip and your teacher fainted on you? Good heavens. One day when I was a teacher, my first year of teaching a long, long time ago, I fainted in class. I had the flu and I didn't know it, and I fainted. It was the first day of school. It was terrible. But my students took really good care of me. They stayed with me, and they were in their chairs and quiet, and then one of them went to go get the nurse. It was fantastic. They did such an amazing job of taking care of themselves and doing their job and taking care of me, too. The class was amazed. They stood there quite dazed, uncertain of what they should do, but one bright young man was off hatching a plan which started with Miss Lila's shoe. Soon each lad and lass there at Blue River Pass was working together as one. Oh man, I love to see this cooperation. Isn't that great? Carrying tree limbs. Look, he took Miss Lila's shoe off. And we got out the picnic basket and we're emptying things. Oh, look at what's going on with all those shoes and twigs. Huh. Oh, look at that. There's a drawing. And he's telling them all about his drawing. There's great art in this book. Look at they're tying all of the shoestrings together, it looks like. What do you think we're building? And when she came to, Miss Lila Greer knew that something quite brave had been done. She looked in the air and saw hanging there a structure with cables and braces, and on the far side, beaming with pride, were 17 smiling young faces. Boots, tree roots and strings, fruit roll-ups and things, some of which one should not mention, were stretched ridge to ridge in a glorious bridge, dangling from a shoestring suspension. Look at, there's Miss Lila. She wakes up and she sees what they've built. Look at what they've built, guys. That's amazing. Look at what it's all made of. Are there things in here that one shouldn't mention? Let's see what we... Uh-oh. What's flying from the top of that? Who do you think is missing his britches down there? Goodness. That's an amazing bridge, though, isn't it? It all became clear to Miss Lila Greer as she crossed that bridge over the stream. There are worse things to do when you're in grade 2 than to spend your time building a dream. Look at that. Is that bridge that she's crossing imaginary or real? That one's imaginary, right? But she had to cross a real one. But it all came from Iggy's imagination. This is, I believe, the Golden Gate Bridge. It's got some facts here about it. It was opened in, what does that say, 1937. It is 4,200 feet across. And then up here, it says it is 746 feet high. That is one tall bridge, isn't it? It's in the San Francisco Harbor. I've actually driven over it. It's very exciting. Now, every week at Blue River Creek Elementary in second grade, all the school kids can hear, along with Miss Greer, how the world's greatest buildings were made. The weekly guest speaker, in t-shirt and sneakers, talks of buildings from Rome to Quebec. Of course, he's the guy who builds towers from pie, that brilliant young man, Iggy Peck. And then look at these cool buildings that he's telling them about in here. I know that one in the middle. That's called the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And this one looks like, oh, this is called the Sydney Opera House. Look at it. It's got like, they call these the clamshells. That's an actual building, and it's on a harbor, and the lights shine up with different colors. And then this looks like Stonehenge. That's in England. There are so many amazing landmarks. This is the Colosseum in Rome. Let's see. Not so tall. I'm not sure. This is the Parthenon, maybe. Guys, thank you so much for joining me for this book. I hope that you enjoyed it. It is available in your library. And in fact, the author, Andrea Beatty, has written some amazing books about kids who love to learn and love to share what they know. Rosie the Engineer, and Ada Twist Scientist. That's a favorite of mine too. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for coming.